out from our horror discussion, it's good to talk about SCORN, which is, Jeremy, what you were going to play for our previous topic before, as you were playing it, you realized it kind of wasn't as applicable as you thought it would be.
Yeah.
Tell us how you thought about it.
So I played SCORN on stream yesterday. And
Sam and I watched you the whole time.
And let me tell you, that game is fleshy.
So fleshy.
When we talk about games, Kerry, when we talk about games with a lot going on, we might use the phrase, it's quite a meaty game. Now, let me tell you, in this context, it is not quite a meaty game, but in the other context, what a meaty game.
So much meat,
so much
flesh.
meat, so much flesh, so many body parts, so
many liquids, so much blood.
Very wet, a lot of blood, a lot of other fluids from bodies, and quite a lot of genitalia referential looking pieces of mass that is made out of bio. What just a odd fucking game. I tried to explain this to some of my coworkers while I was at work today, and it was just okay. So
I'm glad you had some practice.
Yeah, the game itself, it's a puzzle game in a disgusting flesh world, where you're a freaky little guy with a gun that the entire premise of the game is, what if I put things where they shouldn't be put in, and do puzzles from there on out. I don't know what my goal is in that game. It throws you immediately in. There is no preamble. There is no dialogue. There is no characters aside from you. It is just like time to be in flesh hell. When there was a part where I was playing the game, where the very first puzzle that you do is like I think the way Sam described it was like the car parking puzzle, where you just got to move cars and buses out of the way so you can then let the car out of the car park on a grid. It was kind of like that. I want to say the puzzle needed a little bit more to give you what to do, because I think it was maybe a little bit too immediately abstract. I figured it out, but I was sort of sitting there going like, what am I doing?
You got pretty actively frustrated pretty quickly, which seemed fair enough from what we were looking at.
I was playing it up, but I was also just genuinely trying to figure out what I was meant to do. I did indeed figure it out, and I'm glad, because then I progressed onwards. The point of this is, after you finish that puzzle, you get an egg, and the egg breaks, quite a large egg, maybe a meter and a half. Once that egg breaks, there is just a body inside of it, but not like a what a body that you might imagine in your brain looks like. What if it was just like a round mass that had arms and legs coming out of where they shouldn't necessarily be, and the head is there, and it's kind of crying and not crying, but yelling,
grunting,
and groaning and uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable being that was hatched from such egg, and
it was like a beetle. It was like a beetle, but then underneath the carapace, someone had just stuffed a human in there.
So spoilers for the game Inside, but it was imagine if the final thing from Inside wasn't a million bodies, but singular. It was like that, and then you put it in a pram and you push it around, and I've got my head in my hands going what is this game? And then I put it.
It was really cute for a minute though. It's like, oh, he's gonna go.
It was quite sweet.
Walkies.
I was, I put him in his little cot, and I pushed him. And then I pushed him in front of a machine that horrifically added this mechanical device to the back of his head. And then he was just yelling and uncomfortable.
And it was blood.
It was horrific, right? And then after that, I found a machine just prior to that, actually, which was just the same shape where this egg fella would have been put, and then a giant saw blade came and would have sawed his face directly, and like his body and everything. And I was like, oh my God, I have to put this fucking guy in the saw blade machine. And I didn't, and I don't know what that was for. But after that, I put the little SCORN fella in a different machine that killed him, and so I could have his arm. And then I
killed him, but like with an ice cream scoop though. It like harvested him with like a
and then like I put his arm in a machine that you shouldn't put arms in to open a door and continue on, and the entire thing was so gross and disgusting and fleshy, so meaty. What a meaty fucking game that was.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot more puzzles like that. This game's
you went from frustrated with the car parking puzzle to as you said, like head in hands. It's like, what did I do?
Yeah, and it was a very, very intense, gross, visceral game. You know, there's this like lizard creature that was on the wall that was it was like taunting me, and it stole my gun at some point, and there were like these other like flesh eggs that I got put into a wall, and there were these floating bugs that would like fertilize things, and there's like a lot going on, and
so many things to insert into other things.
Yeah, and like a lot of the things that were happening on screen were just very, very gross. It's a very gross game. I think its direction is quite strong. And I do appreciate like the minimalistic UI that goes along with it. It's like it's very I don't know. It makes you very uncomfortable a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's not too long. I do want to go back and finish it, but I don't really enjoy the combat at all. Like once I started to have to fight enemies, I was like, that wasn't fun, and I don't know how to get health back. And then I restarted a checkpoint with 1 health, and I'm like, fuck, like that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
That might honestly kill it for me. If I can't get through that section.
You were really quickly done after that last night, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's cool, and I like what they're going for. I think that like you looked up the length while I was streaming, and it's like 5.5 hours or so. I think that's
like good. No longer than.
Yeah, like there's no collectibles, there's no like optional dialogue, there's no dialogue at all. There's barely cutscenes. I don't know if I can get through the combat sections without really having to try that much, because I don't particularly want to replay sections in this game. I kind of just want to get through it and see what it is for what it is. But after then, like, I don't know, it's neat and cool. I don't really think it's gonna stand up for a long time. I think it's got really good audio and the visuals are pretty neat, and it's a cool study in like, hey, we can make games that look like this.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like it's fun to be reacting to something like this. But I feel like I wouldn't really enjoy this game if I wasn't streaming it.
Yeah, so. I got that impression as well. Like I said earlier in the show, like watching it, I was like, I don't think I'd enjoy playing this. I'm enjoying watching someone else play it and freaking out and talking about it and all of that. But like, it's the kind of thing where at that point, it doesn't kind of matter what the stimulus is at that point if the company's good enough. So, yeah, it's a very singular game. It has quite the vision and quite the focus. I've never seen like a first-person puzzle game like this that wasn't like Portal. This isn't anywhere near the level of Portal, though, is the thing. Like, the puzzles aren't as clever or as engaging as that, I don't think.
There were some ones, like, around the 2010, 2015 era. Like, there was games like The Ball, like Talos Principle, I guess, kind of.
Cube.
Yeah, Cube. Like they do exist, but this one is quite deliberately off-putting. That I think is interesting. Like, look, they've really swung for something, and I think they've come pretty close to to achieving what they went out to intend to make. And I enjoy the world, I guess, like conceptually as like a really gross thing. It's the closest thing that I've seen to a video game that like will capture the feeling of watching like pimple popping videos, I guess.
Yay.
I think it's neat.
Finally, my biggest gaming dreams have been realized.
Yeah, right. Look, I think it's neat. I think this game is a good length, and I think it's worth trying on Game Pass to see if you enjoy this kind of thing. But if you don't, like someone in my chat doesn't, then like you will immediately know if you want to play this game or not by just Googling it.
Yeah.
And if you won't, then you probably won't enjoy it, and like that's kind of it. Like there's no maybe I'll enjoy it, maybe I won't. There is like, yeah, I'll play it and like enjoy the visuals, or I won't enjoy the videos and I probably shouldn't play it.
Yeah. Yep, it's pretty clear cut like that, isn't it?
Yeah, and
it's
nothing wrong with that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope it does well for what it is. I hope it has its audience.
Yeah, and like for the most part, the puzzles were pretty well designed. Like once I figured out what that puzzle was, like it was fun to work out how to do it because I got stuck and I was then trying to work it out and I got it. The other puzzles pretty fun. The walking around different areas of like, you know, like, oh, this key now can open this door and then I can go through here and then I've got this other machine which allows these mechanical things to go through here. Like that stuff is fun and felt pretty natural, and I enjoyed being in the spaces as a 3D space. Because the mind maps that I was building were fun to build because they have some tricky geometry which allows you to get from point A to point C in a different way than you expected. But the style of the game, very visceral.
Yeah, definitely. And I already said so, but it was so fun watching you comprehend how this was making you feel and comprehend what the game was asking you to do.
Yeah, it's fun to react to that game. It's a pretty fun game to have just a like put my head in my hands. I can't believe what the fuck I'm seeing kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. Well, in the same vein of SCORN.